I'm Venkat Tata. I'm a retired power systems engineer, retired in 2018 and settled in Bangalore. It's only after my retirement that I really took on to exhibiting in a serious way. I made one exhibit on UNESCO monuments. It was a philately exhibition, which I got a large silver. But then after that, I found that I had the collection of postcards as well, and I was able to make a much better narrative of a story of a theme with postcards. So I switched to postcards. I wanted to have an Indian topic in the thematics, so I couldn't find but I found that Mughal was one of the the topic of Mughals was one of the best topics to take up on. So I chose this topic. The idea is, my idea is more of to give a narrative, to give an interesting story of the topic in pictures, and there would be a lot of nuances which I wanted to bring about. So that's why I took the Mughal paintings, and I used a large number of museum postcards. Now, they are paintings, Mughal paintings. For me, they are fascinating because they are really the photographs of those times. So if you really want to know what Babur looked like or Akbar looked like, the postcards will tell you what they look like, the miniature paintings. And the postcards which are brought out by the museums, they, for me, may not be rare, but they definitely scarce because they've been brought out in one edition, and other people may have copied it, but very few of that particular item is available anywhere. There's one single edition issues. For me, it's scarce, but many of them are scarce. Now I'll go on to my topic. The topic that I took up of Mughals, I wanted to cover as many aspects of Mughal tradition, their culture, their art as I could. First, I started with the introduction to the Mughal monarchs, emperors. Then, as you know, Mughals had a fine tradition of chronicling their history. So the Mughal chronicles give us a very detailed description and details of what it was during their rule. So most of these are from the Babur Nama, the Humayun Nama, the Akbar Nama, the Badshah Nama, and then Alamgir Nama. Even Taimur, who was their ancestor, had his own Zafarnama. So these give us a lot of information. Mughal women, there were some Mughal women like Noor Jahan, Gulbadan Begum, and then Salima Banu, Salima Sultan. They were very great, very accomplished women, some of whom we have not heard. So I tried to bring out put a small one page on the Mughal women, couple of pages. Then the religions that existed at that time, very few know that the Jesuits first came to the court of Akbar. Then hunting was a very favorite passion of the Mughals. That's why I've given this thing on huntings. They had a love for music, for dance, for poetry. They feasted. And Mughal art is it's a very beautiful part of Indian art. And then you have the Mughal gardens, the Mughal architecture. These are all the topics that I tried to project in my exhibit. Right. We'll start with the first. Now, as you know, the Mughals were very proud of their Timurid heritage. That is, that they were descendants of Timurland. This is one postcard which is in the British Museum, where they were Babur's ancestors, but Taimur's descendants. That's a small part of a larger painting. The second painting, if you see, is it's a painting on Taimur's invasion of Delhi. This is a Persian postcard, which also I think is in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. These are given the Mughal monarchs and their Mughal monarchs. There was two postcards which showed them, many of them. And then there's another one of the Mughal empresses. There's a small one in the center, which is supposed to be Akbar's wife, Hakabai, so done on a porcelain. Then we have the next poem is on Babur. This is a postcard from the mostly from the British Museum, or the Victoria Albert Museum, or the two museums on Islamic art in Berlin and Moscow, and of course a lot of US museums. So these two museums are from the, then this is Humayun, the second Mughal emperor. I had only a postcard of this and his tomb in Delhi. Then there is Akbar, and that's a postcard of his wife. And then Akbar, there's a lot of details of him from the Akbarnama, which many versions of that are there. You have Jahangir, who was more into portraits. This is Jahangir and Akbar in a portrait. Then you have Shah Jahan. His beautiful paint. This is Jahangir with Noor Jahan, who was a very accomplished woman, and for me she was almost as good as Jahangir when it comes to architecture. I'll come to that later. This is the most beautiful one. You have Shah Jahan, which is the first is a Shah Jahan. Second one is a painting by Rembrandt, which is in the Rijksmuseum Amsterdam, done of Shah Jahan and Dara Shikoh. Now, Rembrandt had never come to India. He saw a Mughal painting and did this painting. The third is Shah Jahan on the Peacock Throne. So, we've never seen the Peacock Throne. So, this is what is the realistic picture of what the Peacock Throne looked like. Then you have the next one is Aurangzeb as a young man, and in his old age, you see him reading the Quran. Then you have the children of the Mughals, that you have the children of Shah Jahan, three children of Shah Jahan, the Shah Shuja, Aurangzeb and Murad Baksh. You have one postcard of Murad Baksh, his son. Then you have Dara Shikoh, who was a favorite son of Shah Jahan, and Kam Baksh. He was Aurangzeb's son. So these are the postcards I have of them. Then first we come with the Mughal, I think, yeah, we have here, I think they put it in the, yes. These are, okay, right. These are the later Mughals. First we had from Babur to Aurangzeb were known as the greater Mughals or the main Mughals. And then we had the lesser Mughals. There were 22 Mughals in all. So we had Ahmad Shah, we have Farooq Shiar, Mirza Jahangir, then the last one was Bahadur Shah Zafar. Then I said the Mughals had an excellent tradition of chronicling. Right from Babarnama, you have the first frame, which is of the two paintings from the Babarnama, which was actually written by, this is Babarnama in the first one, but maybe done in during a period of Akbar, the paintings. Then you had the Humayun Nama. This is the second one. Actually, one portion of the Humayun Nama was written by his sister Gulbadan Begum during the time of Akbar. Then, of course, you have the Akbarnama, which was done by Abu Fazl. And here it gives us, you have the first one, the birth of Salim. Now, here what I would like to say is, here you have the birth of Salim, you can see his mother and you can see his wife and the child. And you find that up to the point of Akbar, there was this Turkish influence was there in their costumes. It's only during Akbar's later time that the Indian style or the Rajasthani influence came in. Here, this is a postcard, of course, of the also from the Akbarnama. These are two postcards of 9 jewels of Akbar. We know all of them. This thing here. Then there is another narrative of Jahangir's court. As you know, the first British ambassador in Jahangir's court was Sir Thomas Roe, and he was a drinking partner of Jahangir as well. So we have this postcard of Thomas Roe in Jahangir's court. Then I've tried to show the darbars of how it was, where the various darbars which were there, Mughal courts. So we have one here of Shah Jahan, we have Jahangir, and we have the later, in fact, darbar of Aurangzeb. Maybe this look very similar. One says Jahangir and Aurangzeb, and the other is Akbar II. And then we come, I've tried to put in the main nobles who are there. We have Birbal, Then this is, for example, the second postcard next to Birbal is of Rahim. We know him by his Rahim Ka Dohe, but here actually he was a general and noble and the chief noble in Akbar's court. Khana Khanum, I think we called him Khana Khanum. Then there was Jaswant Singh, one of the main nobles in Akbar's Shah Jahan's court. Then Asaf Khan, who was Shah Jahan's brother-in-law, Dur Jahan's brother, who was instrumental in bringing him to the throne. Then we have a very important noble in Shah Jahan's court. And of course, we have Safdarjung, who was one of the nobles in the later. We have this famous Safdarjung tomb in Delhi, which belonged to Safdarjung, who was one of very powerful noble during the later Mughals period. This is one on their Mughal administration. You see here, Mughals had control right up to Bengal. So here they use the Ganga to go river cruise. So here is Akbar going on a river cruise. The second thing is, it's all about Mughal. They are the Mansabdars, who are the main, one of the key elements in the Mughal administration of revenue collection. Here's Akbar with the Mansabdars. The second one is Noor Jahan. She was a very capable woman. In fact, Noor Jahan, she built a pure marble tomb of her father, Itmadud-Dawla, which had many firsts, and many of them were taken by Shah Jahan for building the Taj Mahal. So she had perfumes in her name, she had costumes, she built Jahangir's tomb, her own tomb, and then her brother Asaf Jah's tomb. Many of the gardens in Kashmir were all Noor Jahan's. Then you have Mahananga. She was the wet nurse of Akbar, was very powerful and very influential as well. You have Salima Begum, who was the widow of Bairam Khan, whom Akbar married after Bairam Khan was assassinated. And she had a lot of influence on Akbar, and Akbar respected her very much. And she brought truce between Akbar and Jahangir when he rebelled against. Now these are two women, for example, Rani Rupmati of Mandu. Mandu was conquered, and before the Mughals could capture her, she committed suicide. You have many pictures of this, the love story of, you have Baz Bahadur and Rupmati. Then you have Chand Bibi, who resisted the Mughals very much, Chand Bibi of Ahmednagar. Then the religious influence, mostly the Mughals had a lot of, Akbar especially, had a lot of Sufi influence. One was Salim Chishti in Fatehpur Sikri. The other one was Moinuddin Chishti at Ajmer. In fact, Akbar went to it a number of times to Ajmer. You have this. In fact, the gateway was made by the Nizam of Hyderabad. Here, this is Indian festivals which were celebrated there. For example, it's Diwali. Of course, it could be this is of a Diwali which is being celebrated in the Mughal court. And then you have, Akbar also had the Mahabharata and Ramayana translated. This is Razamnama, which was got translated by Akbar during his period, and one of the paintings shows the Aswamedha Yajna horse being shown to the queens by Krishna. And then you have the religious influence. Here is one of the fascinating paintings. You see, you have this first Jesuits who came to Akbar's court. You will find two Jesuit priests here, and then you have the other religious people. So they came to Akbar's court during the time of, during his time. Then you see here a Mughal painting of a Christian theme. The original was Raphael's, but it was maybe of his school. But the Christians brought a lot of paintings to the Mughal court to try to influence them. And the Mughal painters copied them very beautifully. So this is which is made by the Mughals of a Christian painting. Hunting was a very favorite of the Mughals. In fact, we learn a lot of these things. There was one painting of Babur killing a rhinoceros. We know that rhinoceros was there in Afghanistan, but here doesn't. Here is Babur hunting, the postcard. One of Humayun hunting. Then you have one of, this is postcard of Humayun hunting. And this is one of Akbar hunting. And in fact, there were a lot of lions. Akbar had 1,000 tame cheetahs, which he used for hunting. You see a lot of cheetahs in this. You know that he had 1,000 trained cheetahs with him, which he used for hunting. And today we don't have any cheetahs with us left. And the next one, of course, also is about Akbar hunting. And then this Jahangir is going on a cruise. It's also in a hunting expedition. Now, of course, few people know Akbar had a great passion for elephants. In fact, he would tame the most rogue elephant, he would tame them. Here you see Akbar seeing a wild elephant which is being tamed, and you will see that in the second picture, which is a Zainuddin's painting, you find Akbar himself is training a wild elephant, and he himself will love to do it. These are three paintings of Jahangir killing lions. Actually, during the Mughals and Persians thought that killing a lion would bring a lot of good fortune. So they killed a lot of lions. And these were all in the area of Lahore and that area. So lions existed there during the times of the Mughals. So, and this, this is, yes, and there were other sports as well. If we here, you see Babur is witnessing an animal fight and a wrestling match. The Mughals used to play polo. Is Jahangir playing polo, the second postcard. So the third is Jahangir with Prince Salim. He was a patron of music. In fact, he later liked the roughly painting, but music and other finer arts. Here is also a painting of young Salim with his companions, also painters. Dance was there. Kathak was evolved during the time of the Mughals, and you have a painting of Jahangir with a poet. Then there, the Mughal cuisine is famous. We have Mughlai cuisine now. It all started in the Mughal period. You have here Noor Jahan entertaining Shah Jahan and Khurram, Prince Khurram at that time, who after his victory over Mewar. A very interesting thing is here that you see is in this painting there is a small picture of Jesus and Mary in the marble behind. In fact, if you see somewhere here, this is the one where you see here is Jesus and here is Mary. And detail of that you will find that. Then here, Babur is learning how to cut a turkey in Herat. When he lived, after being chased out of Fargana, he and Samarkand, 20 years he lived in Kabul. So that is where he is having a feast. Mughal painters were very famous. This is one of the most famous Farooq Beg. You can see the beauty of their paintings, not only just the painting, but the borders and the other details which were there. It was a workshop, each person doing a number of things. The second, and this is during Jahangir's time when nature took over. You have a lot of paintings of Murad and famous painters. Ustad Mansoor. And this, if you find, this is Jahangir had a favorite black buck. In fact, when it died, he was so sad, he built a memorial which is called Hiran Minar, it's somewhere near Lahore. Then the Portuguese brought the turkey to the Mughal court. So the turkey was very fascinating. They had a lot of paintings of the turkey, which was brought in by the Mughal to Portuguese. The Jahangir had a pet, two Saras cranes, who he named Laila and Majnu. And there was a zebra which was brought in, which after that, I think it was presented to Shah Mahmud of Iran. This is a zebra which was there in the menagerie of the Mughals. In the art, Petri Dora was, if you all we know of it in the Mughal, in the Taj Mahal. And that was basically a Florentine art which was brought in by the Europeans and adapted by the Indian artisans. So this is the Petri Dora which we see in the Taj Mahal. Then we have this Jali work. in the Trail of Justice. This is few people know that this is in the I think it is in the Red Fort. It's in the Red Fort, Diwan-e-Aam. The behind you have this is a small painting of Orpheus, which is absolutely an European influence. So in the work in the Red Fort, you have a European style painting done into the art. Now, Babur was a lover of gardens. Now here you have two. See, he built the Baghe Babur in Kabul, where finally he was buried. Here he is inspecting the Baghe Babur in Kabul. So you have him. This is two paintings from the British Museum. Then the gardens of Srinagar, Shalimar Bagh, Nishan Bagh, then Chashma Shahi and Shalim were built by the Mughals, mostly Noor Jahan and Jahangir during Jahangir and Shah Jahan period. And you have the famous Shalimar Gardens in Lahore. That was built by Shah Jahan. It is part of the World Heritage, in the World Heritage list. So these are all the gardens that the Mughals built. And then here I have taken to the architecture. The first thing is the Akbar period, the Agra Fort. Agra Fort was a mud fort which was actually mainly built by Akbar, who made it. And then after that, he built a number of, many of the buildings built by Akbar's time were dismantled by Shah Jahan. He built the pure marble ones, but few remain, including the Jahangir Mahal. Many of them were turned, and here also, all these were marble buildings were built by during Shah Jahan period. He dismantled what was built by Akbar, except the two of them. All the riverfront buildings were dismantled by Shah Jahan and built in marble, which were much more delicate. Then you have the Red Fort, of course, which is Shah Jahan's. You have this Diwan-e-Aam, the Diwan-e-Khas. Then here you have the baths, the hammam. Then you have got one which is the Zafar Mahal, which was an addition by Bahadur Shah Zafar. That was there in Sawan Bhado, where you have the garden. You have Zafar Mahal there, and the addition of Aurangzeb to the Red Fort was the Pearl Mosque. Then you have Lahore Fort, which is also built by Akbar, but again it was improved upon by Shah Jahan. This is Lahore Fort. You have three paintings of that, pictures of that. Then Akbar also built the Ajmer Fort, the Atok Fort, and the Allahabad Fort. So these are Akbar he built during his time more forts, and of course the city, Fatehpur Sikri, which was his signature city. But mostly he was into forts because at that time the Mughal empire was being stabilized. And here you have, this is the Fatehpur Sikri, which Akbar shifted his capital to. These are two things, two sheets of Fatehpur Sikri. You have the Khas Mahal, you have the Jodabai Palace, you have the Hiran Minar, which actually may be a milestone, distance stone. So this is from Fatehpur Sikri. That is the Buland Darwaza, which was built after his victory over Gujarat. This, of course, is the famous Taj Mahal, with Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal. One of my favorite postcards. Beautiful. The beauty is just the proportion, as much as the marble. That is most fascinating. Then, of course, we have here the Taj Mahal gates. There was a mosque on one side and a guest house on the other, and this was the Taj Mahal. They were just very symmetric. Then, of course, the tombs. I've shown a few of them, built a number of them. First is Akbar's tomb in Shikandra. Second, Jahangir's tomb in Lahore, which was built by Noor Jahan. The third is a poor imitation of the Taj Mahal, which Aurangzeb attempted at Aurangabad. It's a Bibi ka Maqbara of his wife. It's in marble, but it's a pretty, I mean, the proportions are different. And then, of course, this is the tomb of Ismatul Dawla, which was built by Noor Jahan for a father. And many of the firsts, she introduced many firsts, pure marble, then there was inlay of semi-precious stones in marble. Many of the ideas were taken by Shah Jahan for the Taj Mahal. And here you have the Badshahi Mosque, which was built by Aurangzeb in Lahore. And then this is the mosque in Agra was the contribution of Jahanara Begum, Shah Jahan's daughter. It was the and then you have the Jama Masjid of Shah Jahan. So that is it. I have tried in the exhibit to project as many facets of Mughal architecture, their art, their traditions. There's a lot left to be shown, but with the limitation of 80 frames. Otherwise, the Mughals, study of Mughals is a fascinating subject. Thank you so much. I hope you find interest.